Hello, my name is Nathaning, and today we'll be teaching you how to effectively use Aurelion Sol in the Dragonsoul Mage composition to start winning your rank games. At the end of 11.3, people were catching on that Aurelion Sol was secretly overpowered, and we started to see him being run a lot more. With the introduction of 11.4, his popularity has risen dramatically and is now one of the most premier carries of the set once again. If you guys want to get better at TFT and reach your dream rank, make sure you check out ProGuides.com and get yourself a coach. Now back to the video. The main focus of the comp is building around a Sol as your main DPS and making sure that he can cast to blow up the entire enemy team. That being said, unlike some other compositions who focus on carry only, you do have some options in Shyvana and Swain that can serve as a secondary carry should you find the necessary items and 2-stars. Aurelion Sol is a mage unit, so naturally he loves any form of AP items. Hence, our preferred start is usually Rod. It can build up great early game items such as Locket of the Iron Solari and Ionic Spark, as well as just give you options for the late game with Jeweled Gauntlet, Hexa Gunblade, Rabadon Zethcap, and even Dragonsoul Spatula should you get lucky enough to find it. Our secondary item start recommendation would be Glove, as you can build Hand of Justice, Thief's Gloves, and Jeweled Gauntlet in the early game. These items can be tremendously helpful for saving HP early, and they are very versatile throughout the entire game. If you manage to find a good chosen or 2-star unit for some items such as Garen, Nasus, or Teemo to name a few, don't be afraid to slam any of these item options to start building a win streak. Our final item recommendation would be Tear. The power of Tear has decreased dramatically since last set, and you usually don't want too many. That being said, you are able to make Chalice of Power, Spear of Shojin, Hand of Justice, and even a Mage Spatula, so Tears are definitely more viable in this composition than others. Aurelion Sol items are quite flexible, but for the vast majority of lobbies, your best in-slot items will be Jeweled Gauntlet, Hexa Gunblade, and Guardian Angel. Other usable items include Rabadon Zethcap, Hand of Justice, Spear of Shojin, Blue Buff, Giant Slayer, Infinity Edge when paired with Jeweled Gauntlet, Quicksilver Sash, and Trap Claw. A lot of the time, you won't have the perfect items, and that's okay. You'll want to slam flexible early items such as Hand of Justice to get you that level 8 mark and inevitably roll for Aurelion Sol too. Think of it this way, you'd much rather have a 2-star Aurelion Sol at 8 with good items than be stuck at level 7 with a 1-star Aurelion Sol with best in slot items. Now let's discuss Shyvana and Swain. Shyvana is great because she's able to nullify your bows by making items such as Runen's Hurricane, Rapid Fire Cannon, Giant Slayer, Gensu's Rage Blade, and even Static Shiv now with the Magic Resist Shred. Some matches you might start with the bow, and making an early item such as Runen's gives you a very strong mid-game with 3 Dragonsoul or Brawler. This is great because Shyvana is still part of our late game composition and serves as an alternative carry. Her damage output is very potent, even in the later stages of the game with the Dragonsoul buff. Swain is another option as a secondary damage source, and you can put early game items that you slam such as Locket of the Iron Solari, Ionic Spark, Sunfire Cape, and Gargoyle Stoneplate on him. He is very versatile as an item holder, and he can go ahead and pump out a lot of damage if he's able to get his ultimate before dying. So, if you have any leftover items, be sure to make use of Swain, especially if he's a 2-star. Bear in mind, if you do get a Mage Spatula, it is very strong on both Shyvana and Swain. We would put it on whoever is more itemized and is 2-star as a rule of thumb. Now, before we dive into the early game, our question of the day is, who is your favorite unit in set 4.5 and why? Let us know in the comments down below. Much like any other level 8 composition, your aim in the early game is to build as much econ as possible without sacrificing too much HP. Dragonsoul starts are quite flexible, so play with what you're given. But here are 3 example openers to help you get to those later levels. If you manage to find a chosen Dragonsoul Tristana or Brand early, that's a good sign to go for this opener. If you find Tristana, consider going the sharpshooter route by adding Teemo, Sivir, or Nicolai with the front lines such as Braum and Vanguards. If it's Brand, you can go with mages such as Lulu and Annie, and then add any other Dragonsoul for the buff. Note, although these are great openers for the Aurelion Sol comp, we probably won't hold onto these 1-cost chosens for the whole game unless you manage to natural a lot of Aurelion Sols before you roll down. This opener is great as you can make excellent use of those early slammable items discussed previously with the beefy frontline units that stay alive for a long time. The indicator to go for this start is if you get an early Brawler chosen or go for a 2-star Brawlers in stage 1 and 2. Vi can serve as a good item holder for Aurelion Sol as she utilizes a lot of AP items and can carry you until you transition into your late game comp. An example of this opener would be Tahm Kench, Maokai, Vi, and Nunu/Shyvana. This opener revolves around using Twisted Fate as your item holder for a Sol and complementary mages to back him up. If you manage to get a hold of items such as Jeweled Gauntlet or Rabadon Zethcap, Twisted Fate can pack a massive punch, especially at 2-star. An example of this opener would be Twisted Fate, Lulu, Annie, Brand, or Veigar. Again, similar to our kill guide, link shown here, you'll want to pre-level at 1-3 and 2-3 if you're strong and can maintain a win streak. Otherwise, try to meet your interest thresholds as soon as possible and save as much HP as possible by positioning and scouting well. The powerful tool that you can use is the 5 loss streak into Crumbz, giving you around 50 to 60 gold by the time 3-2 comes around, so you can go ahead and stabilize the mid game. When utilizing the strategy, make sure that you're killing as many units as possible while also ensuring that your loss streak continues. If you win the final round before Crumbz on a 4 loss streak, you'll lose out on a lot of gold, so be sure to scout and ensure that you're the weakest in the lobby. If you don't have a good Chosen and you're relatively weak in the mid game, you'll want to go to level 6 at 3-2 and roll down for a usable 2 or 3 cost Chosen. This applies to any opener you have, but we'll expand on our early game boards now. If you're lucky enough to find one A-Sol or Olaf in the mid game, you should consider switching to 6 Dragonsouls relatively early. This will be a big card spike for your board most games, as 3 of your Dragonsoul units gets the buff. Otherwise, you'll want to continue expanding into sharpshooters or mages by adding in the higher cost units and playing your strongest natural board. If you manage to get a Brawler Chosen early or when rolling down at 3-2, you'll likely want to play 6 Brawlers in the mid game as they're still super strong despite the nerfs. If you don't have a Brawler Chosen, you can go ahead and sub in Dragonsoul by adding in units such as Braum, Tristana, or Brand to buff up your Shyvana. If you don't find a Shyvana but instead find Nunu, you can run Elderwood with another unit such as Lulu, Rakan, or Veigar. Lulu being preferable as she is utilized in our late game composition as well. You can either run 3 or 5 mages depending on which unit or units you have chosen and you hit in the mid game. If you run 3 mages, other traits such as Cultist or Elderwood work extremely well with your comp. To add in Elderwood, you can run a Maokai, Rakan, or Nunu to bolster your frontline. For Cultists, you can add in any of them, but Pyke and Vladimir would be preferred as they provide some nice support through healing and crowd control for your mages. At stage 4-1, you'll go to level 7 and evaluate your current board if it's strong enough to get you to level 8 with enough HP and economy to roll. Now, if you're feeling weak compared to the rest of the lobby, you'll most likely want to roll a decent amount at level 7 to stabilize your position. Try to find one Aurelion Sol to hold your items if you currently don't have a good item holder. Your core will consist of Aurelion Sol, Brand, and Lulu for mages. Add in another Dragonsoul such as Shyvana for the buff and build up a semblance of a frontline, whether it be mages with Annie or vanguards with something like Braum. If you feel stable, you can go to level 8 by 4-5 or 5-1 depending on how much you rolled at level 7. If you already have a strong board come 4-1, you'll likely not need to roll until level 8 at 4-5 or 5-1 depending on how much HP you have to spare. We'd say if you're around 40 or 50 HP by 4-5, it's probably the right time to roll if you have the gold to do so. Otherwise, if you're super healthy, you can greed until Raptors to go ahead and give you the maximum chance of hitting. Alright, let's talk about the final level 8 composition. Note, this is not the only version that you can run with Aurelion Sol, as he fits into a lot of other compositions such as Elderwood or Mages. You just need to remember to adapt what you're given and play around the Chosens, Spatulas, and most importantly, the lobby. This 6 Dragonsoul Aurelion Sol version aims you to get a rough guideline on a basic composition that works well. 6 Dragonsoul works best if you're able to find a Chosen Dragonsoul or a Spatula. You can play it without a Chosen or a Spatula, but you'll likely have to run pretty useless champions such as Tristana or Olaf to hit 6 Dragonsoul. The core units are as follows: Aurelion Sol, Brand, Lulu, Braum, Swain, Shyvana, and Morgana. This final 8th unit is either Tristana or Olaf as discussed. Instead, if you do have the right Chosen or Spatula, you can run good standalone units such as Sejuani, Aatrox, Azir, Set, or Zillion to name a few. We add in Morgana to give ourselves Siphoner, which when paired with Dragonsoul makes for a deadly duo and allows for our units to stay alive longer. Lulu is added instead of TF, Annie, or Veigar as she provides the most benefit with her ultimate. However, Annie can serve as a good replacement if you happen to itemize her and you have her 2 or 3 starred. Aurelion Sol positioning is very important to allow him to sneeze all over the enemy team. You'll quite literally blow them away. His targeting works similar to Lux in set 4, where he prioritizes the furthest target. This means you'll want him on the opposite side of the enemy clump to maximize chances of getting multiple units. Here's an example of positioning if the enemy team has a carry in the back left corner. Notice how our Aurelion Sol is positioned on the right hand side to the target furthest away from the enemy unit, which is in the back left corner. That's what you want to do. If your Aurelion Sol doesn't have Guardian Angel, you might want to consider moving him back in the corners, but be warned as he might not receive the Dragonsoul buff before casting, consequently losing a lot of damage. You can still frontline him without Guardian Angel, but it is much riskier, so make sure you scout and see if there are any immediate threats in front of him. Well, that's all of us from our Dragonsoul Mage Guide. Let us know what other compositions you would like us to cover in the comments down below. Speaking of leaving things in the comments down below, let us know your answer to the question of the day down there. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and visit us at ProGuides.com if you want to keep climbing. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.